We're going to learn how to set up the notebook here, and let's start. You should have a composition book or a spiral notebook, preferably. Now make sure that you have your name and your period on there, okay? And today in class you received several pages. We have this handout, which explains how I want the notebook set up. And we'll go over all the pages here. So your notebook, as you open it up, it has a left side and it has a right side. If you read right here, homework, return quizzes, and tests go on the right side, everything else on the left side. So everything that's actually like a strong chunk of your grade, like homework, everything's on the right side. Return quizzes on the right side. Return tests on the right side. By the way, get a parent signature whenever you get a graded test or quiz back and tape it into the right side. Everything else goes on the left side. So if you walk into class and there's a class opener on the board, you write it down on the left side. Class notes, write it down on the left side. If I tell you, hey, let's work on this in class, like a class activity, do it on the left side. Now let's say you get a quiz back and you want to do corrections on it, you do the corrections on the left side. Preferably right across from your quiz or test that you're correcting. But anyway, once again, the homework is on the right side and tests and quizzes that are graded also on the right side. Everything else on the left side. That way it's easy for me to see and check homework. Anyway, so right here at the center of the page, it's like an example of how you're supposed to set it up. Every single page should have a title, date, and day. So notice I have a date and a day. And on the front board, I always have the date and the day written up there. So today's the 14th, and it's Tuesday, so you write that down, 8/14, Tuesday, and the title. So if it were a class opener, you'd write class opener. If it were the first lesson that we're doing, like section 0.2, real numbers, you would write that as a title. What I need to see is a title so I could know what I'm looking at, okay? And then you write down your notes, and if you do finish and you have space, like let's say you only used half of the page, you could draw a line and then just continue right there the next day. Put the next date and the next day. Okay. Draw a line and you can put the date and day and then the new title of what you're doing the next day. And of course, on the right side of your notebook, you just want homework or return quizzes or return tests. And all quizzes and tests need a parent signature. Any questions so far? No? Great. So more important details. Every single page needs a title, date, and day. If I just see some math problems and it doesn't say what the homework assignment is, or it doesn't say that it's a class opener, or it doesn't say that it's notes, you need a title, right? And you need a date and a day. Next bullet. On the inside back cover of your notebook, you should maintain a homework log, okay? So what is a homework log? Let's check it out. It's this paper that we handed out, Homework Log 2018-19. And we might as well explain how you're going to be filling out this homework log on a regular basis. So check it out. Of course, on any random day, you will have a homework assignment, and it'll have a section. We're going to start with 0.2. So if I did give you the 0.2 assignment, you'd put section 0.2, whatever worksheet it is, and then a description of what problems you're doing, maybe 1 through 20, or 1 through 21 odd, maybe 1 through 13 odd, who knows. But you write the description right here. So the only homework that you've actually had in this class was given to you yesterday. That's why I put yesterday's date, 8/13/18. And it doesn't have a section or page, but I could describe what I wanted you to do for homework yesterday. That was to get a notebook, what we're working on today, and to sign up for Edmodo. That's a big one, signing up for Edmodo. Maybe later on in class I'll give you guys time to do that. And also remind, but remind's not that important. That's just to be able to text me and for you to be able to get reminder texts from me. So the notebook and signing up for Edmodo, those are the two big ones. So you have your description written right there. And then there's reflection. There's a reflection column. Now obviously there's not enough space to write anything, but I do give you some numbers that you could represent your reflection with. So let's say, not on this homework, but let's say you were doing a certain homework on simplifying variable expressions. And let's say you did every single question You thought it was easy. You understood everything. You could explain it to other people. So if you feel this way, I completed all problems correctly. I'm able to explain it to others that need help. I feel like I'm a genius. If you feel that, you go ahead and give yourself a 3 on the reflection. Now, let's say you did the homework. You finished most of the work. You understand most of the problems, but you need to ask for help on 1 or 2 problems. You weren't able to finish all of it, but you feel pretty smart. So if that's how you feel about the homework, you give yourself a 2. Okay? If you feel this way, that you could only do about half of the problems, I definitely need a tutoring and will show up tomorrow morning to ask for help, and we'll watch all the videos on this section. Give yourself a 1 if you only were able to do half of the homework. Give yourself a 0 if you don't understand any of this. What the heck is going on? It feels like it's written in a different language. I will show up tomorrow for tutoring and every morning for the rest of my life. That's when you give yourself a 0. So these are not points, guys. All right? Don't think, oh, I'm going to give myself a bunch of 3s. That way I'll have an A in my notebook. No, that's not the case. The 3, the 2, the 1, the 0, that's just like a code that explains how you're feeling about the homework. So if I see that you give yourself a bunch of 0s, I know I need to do a better job at teaching, right? Or if you're only giving yourself a 1, a 2, then I know that I need to do a better job of teaching. If I see a bunch of 3s, it's also a reflection for you to see if you're understanding the homework. If you give yourself a 1 or a 0, then you better come in for tutoring and get on the ball and get some help. So this goes on the back cover of your notebook, okay? So let's continue reading before we show you the back cover of the notebook. What else? Let's see. Whenever you turn in a notebook, so on a certain Friday, I'll be like, hey guys, you're leaving the notebook over the weekend. I'm going to grade it, but you must have a notebook checklist glued or taped into the next available page in order for you to get your notebook graded. So here's a notebook checklist. This is a little half sheet of paper. I gave it to you right now just so you could see how I'm going to grade. It's not like you're actually going to grade yourself right now. You don't have a notebook yet. But how do we grade ourselves? Well, when you do turn it in, you're going to check, are all your papers secure? Are they taped in? In other words, if you pick up your notebook and you shake it, if papers fall out, you're not going to get this point. And you give yourself a point if none of the papers fall out. Are all your quizzes and tests in there? If they are, you get 1 point for having your quizzes and tests. And you get another point if you have them signed by your parent. And of course, this goes on the right side. I don't know why I wrote right side here if I already had it typed in right here. My bad. But anyways, that's 2 points. 1 for having the quizzes and tests and 1 for having a parent signature. So 1 point here, 2 points here. Are all your notes there and class openers on the left side? Does it have a title, date, and day? Even on the days you're absent. Because on the days you're absent, you will be able to get on Edmodo and get whatever you're missing. And that's 1 point. So you just read through this and you give yourselves points. As you can see, the most valuable thing on the notebook is your homework itself. If you have all the homework complete, that's 3 points. If you only have half of it, then you're only going to get 1.5. You only have maybe 1 or 2 assignments, you're only going to get like 1 point right there out of the 3. So what you do is you grade yourself and you add up all your points and you give yourself a final score. When I collect notebooks, if you don't have yourself graded and you don't have a final score right there, I'm not going to bother grading it. So you need to grade it yourself, and then I'll be checking, okay, did this person really get a 10? Did this person really do all of his homework because he gave himself a 3 or she gave herself a 3? I'm going to go back and check. So you need to grade yourself, and then I'll grade, and we'll see if our grades match up together. So that's how we're going to be grading notebooks. So I gave you all this right now so you'll know how I'll be grading. So I have my example notebook here. Everything that you get in this class should be in your notebook, guys. So if I open up my notebook here on the front page, or the first possible page, it could be on the cover or on the front page, I have the syllabus. And of course, this should have parent signatures. So you received this yesterday. We're not turning it in, we're glue sticking it into our notebook. So we do have some tape that's going to be circulating the class right now. Make sure you tape it in right now. And notice, guys, I tape my syllabus in here, and of course I have to fold it in order for it to shut nicely. But again, you want both sides accessible. So only tape in this top part so you could have access to both sides. Are you with me? Like I said before, if you go to the back cover should have this homework log that we were talking about here. And of course it's folded. And you will end up having a long list of homeworks that are all going to be written up there on the homework list board, right? And you should have that on the back cover, right there. Yeah, on the last page, back cover. Okay. What else did we receive today? We received that handout that shows the description of the notebook. So I taped that in right here on the left side, because remember, the right side's only for homework and for return quizzes or tests. Everything else goes on the left side. So I taped in this. Not only that, I also left the flap open and I taped in the other one as well. Now you guys don't have to tape it in exactly the way I do. You guys could be creative with the taping and folding, whatever you want. But everything that is handed out to you should be in this notebook. Everything should be in this notebook. So I hope that clarifies what I expect from the notebook. I'm done.